Hello friend, it's Tonton. Today is gonna be the next guide on the generation of heroes. So we're gonna talk about generation 2, a mix of free-to-play, spender. Things are a bit more straightforward. At that stage, you only get 3 new heroes per generation. So the first generation is lasting for roughly 60 days. Then the next generation and the one following up are slowly rolling out every 80 days. And then, around Gen 10, you will start to go towards 90 to 100 days. So it slow down a bit at the end for the later generations. But now it means that a bit less than every 3 months, every 2 months and a half-ish, you will get a new gen. So every time you will get a lancer, every time you will get an infantry, and every time you will get a marksman. And the rotation is how you get heroes between events. If you look at Gen 1, you add Deanman for the Lucky Wheel, right? So the Lucky Wheel, Gen 2, you will have Flint. So you add marksman, then you have infantry, then Gen 3, that means you will have a lancer. You will have Mia. And then Gen 4, that means you will go back to marksman, lean, infantry, Gen 5, Hector, Lancer, Gen 6, René, etc. So there is a rotation between marksmen, infantry, lancers, marksmen, infantry, lancers. And the same with the other ones, right? So some of them that you used to get in the Hall of Chief kind of reward, or which will be King of Icefield or SVS prep later in Gen 2, you will start to get another hero. And the one that you get from the Hall of Heroes will rotate as well, right? So that there is a rotation between these 3 events. So you get one from the Hall of Heroes. There is no more VIP heroes anymore, right? In Gen 1, you have one VIP hero, which is the Hall of Chief rewards hero as well. So that's Geronimo. On top of that, you get another VIP hero, which is Natalia. Then you get Deanman from the Lucky Wheel, and from the Hall of Heroes, you get Molly, right? But here there is a rotation as well. So you will get another hero in the Hall of Heroes every generation. Then you will get another one in Hall of Chief, and it will rotate between the different kind of heroes again. So that's kind of something to note that is really important. What do you will want to do as a free-to-play, right? Now that you have them every 80 days, Gen 1 was a bit quicker. Something to understand is heroes are expiring in the sense of they are getting obsolete. So if you look at my Gen 3, Gen 1, Gen 1, Gen 1, Gen 1, Gen 3, I mean, Gen 4, Gen 6 did not invest in, but you see like Gen 2, Alonso, Flint, Gen 2, Philly, Gen 2, they are kind of all at the bottom of my list, right? And they have many more stronger heroes. And if I compare, like, Alonso is an amazing Gen 2 heroes, but if I compare Alonso, so he's like, 4 stars and 4 shards. If I compare him to someone else that's similar, he has 210 stats. So let's do it's exactly the same scenario. Instead, it's a lancer, right? A Gen 8 hero has 700, so that's 500 more percent. So that's between roughly you get 60 to 80 more percent per hero per generation, something like that. So they will get obsolete at some point. You will replay them. So investing heavily either your free-to-play currencies or the things you get for free, or your money into heroes, understand that that's something that will fade out. When you look at your chief gear, at your charms, when you look at your hero gear, all of these are permanent and they will follow you, right? So maybe better to show you this one, but that will follow from generation to generation. So heroes and their widget, they are staying where they are basically, and they're getting obsolete after a while. So it's not the best places to invest, especially if you're a low spender free to play. So how you should go about it? The strategy for low spender free to play is to get every time the Lucky Wheel. So Deanman, you have 60 days, you start the game, you don't have much gems. You could get him to probably 3 stars, and that's good enough. And Deanman is overall a bad hero, so you're not gonna need him that much. So Deanman was kind of the exception, but starting Gen 2, you should aim to get the Lucky Wheel hero to 4 stars every time. What does it mean? It means that you need to spin the Lucky Wheel on every Hall of Chief, or on every King of Icefield, or on every SVS prep, which is every 2 weeks kind of event, with the Lucky Wheel on Tuesday and Wednesday, even Thursday, but usually you don't get points on Thursday, so you would want to do it on Tuesday, very likely, or maybe Wednesday in some of these events. You will want to spin it 70 times, because 70 times you have a kind of a milestone reward that gives you the most shard for value. And that if you spin it every time you have such an event, every 2 weeks you spin 70 times, which you need a bit below 100k gems basically. But 90, 80k gem, that's gonna be okay. That will nearly guarantee you that your heroes will be level 4 stars at the end of the generation. And that's where you want. Why do you want the hero 4 stars? It's because the skills will be level 5, and that's In most of cases, that's what you want on top of the stats, but that's what you want as a free-to-play, as a low spender, is you want to get the skill max. So when you join a rally or when you are using them for yourself, that's working. If you wanted to go to the hero to beat a bit higher than 4 stars, you will have to spin 120 times. The thing is that at that stage, at the free-to-play or low spender, you did not build enough gems. So that will take you roughly 2/3 of the gem you earn in the game. They will go back in the lucky wheel at that stage, more or less. It depends a bit on how you spend, about, not even how much money, but how do you use your gems. Like, there are many variations that could make, that change a bit, but that's more than half of your gems are likely going to be in the lucky wheel. So that's very important to understand, and that will be very important to do well. Spin, because something you can understand right now is like this will be fundamental for you as a free-to-play, because you're not gonna be able to get many of the other heroes. So the strategy usually as a free-to-play or low spender, and if you're a very casual player, it's very simple, is you do the lucky wheel every time. You don't think too much, you don't have to overthink heroes, and every 2 or 3 generations you invest your general shards into another one. So let's say, you skip Gen 2, so you do Gen 1, you do your Zinman, you do everything we've seen in the last video. Gen 2, you do your Flint with the Lucky Wheel. You don't do Alonso, you don't do Philly. These are the 3 Gen 2 heroes. So that's Philly. Gen 1 and Gen 2, they don't have the little number, right? So that's the only one. Then you see it's Gen 3, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 4, Gen 5. You can see, I mean, it's season or whatever they call it, but we call it Gen usually. So that's Gen 2, so that's Philly, Flint, Alonso, right? So you do your lucky wheel, and every 2 generation, depending on how much shards you get another one. So let's say you want an arena hero, and you have a bit of shard in Gen 2, then you can do Alonso. We'll talk about it in a moment, but that's something you could consider. So that's the general strategy. If you are like me, like a small spender, not that kind of turning toward the closer to a medium one, with the channel and stuff, like you could do nearly 2 heroes every generation. You might need to skip a generation from time to time to 5 stars, right? So you will be able to max out one with the lucky wheel, which you need to spin. It's very simple with the lucky wheel. You want to get very close to 5 star and maxed out heroes, you need to spin 120 times every time. There is an event. So, just because you can spin up to 150 times a day, and it resets every day, and you can spin for 3 days per event. So I'm not saying to spend 360 times per event. I'm saying to spend 120 times per event. So per Hall of Chief, per King of Icefield, per SVS Prep, you spin only 120 times. That's giving you the milestone reward. Most of your shards are coming from the milestone reward if you pay attention. Roughly, when you spend 120 times, you get 170, 180 shards. And I think that's 120 coming from the milestone, more or less, and 60 coming from the wheel itself. So spinning the wheel extra is actually very expensive. So you really want to hit the milestone reward, because that's where you got most of the guaranteed shards. So that's really, really important to understand. So let's say you will want to do Alonso, for example. So that's a good. So now let's review heroes in Gen 2. In Gen 2, you have the lucky wheel that is Flint. Flint is both. With the widget, it's a defensive hero, because you can see like it's buffing defenders troops in the widget, but actually all the skills are offensive. That's doing more damage, that's doing attack up, that's doing more damage, that's doing more damage. I mean, enemy damage taken up. Yeah, so overall, while he has a defensive widget, he's a very offensive hero. And that's why in Gen 1, I mentioned that you should use Natalia or Geronimo for bear if you're a spender. At the free-to-play, or the low spender, you won't go for Natalia, you won't go for Geronimo, very likely, unless you want to give them 2 or 3 stars, and that would be good enough for Bear. But that's already a bit of a budget, to be honest. Then Flint, you will be able to use him for Bear, because that's one of the only offensive infantry hero you will have for a very, very long time. So investing to Flint into 4 star is really important to unlock these skills level 5, because you will use him for Bear Trap often. And I'm actually redoing my test about the damage that Flint is doing versus Hector, versus Geronimo. Maybe I try Natalia, but I'm missing a bit of stars on it. So kind of comparing to others, because if you look at guides online, and even mine, some people tell you to use Flint, some people tell you to use Hector, Gen 5, some people tell you to use Geronimo, 2 stars and stuff. And it kind of lack data to back it up. In some cases, not some people provide data, but not everyone. So I'm collecting data. I'll update my guidance, but most likely you will be able to use Flint unless you have Geronimo and Natalia to 3 or 4 stars. You will use him for a very long time. So the free to play is very fundamental hero. You will get him. In arena, he's not as good. He's dying quickly. He has a heal, so you might want to put him as a tank. He's like kind of a mid shield. You know, he's gonna take some hit. He's gonna heal and then he's gonna die, and he does not do much, but he's soaking some damages, so that's okay. So he's not amazing in arena, but he's okay. So that's for Flint. Very offensive. You will use him for bear, likely until Gen 5, even potentially up until Gen 9. So we'll see when the test is done. Then you have Philly. That's really Philly, the spender hero. She's not really strong. I've done her Gen 2, and that was a mistake. I did not really need her. If you have Molly, Molly is good enough for arena. Remember, in arena, you want 2 infantry, 2 marksmen, 1 lancers. That's good enough. Philly is not really good. She could be a good rally joiner because, you know, she's having defense up and attack up, so that's decent. You know, she's doing some damages, she's doing some stun chant, that's all okay. In arena, she's healing a lot, so there is a synergy between basically Alonso, that heals a bit with his widget, if I recall well, Flint, that is healing himself, and Philly, that is healing as well. So if you're a spender, big spender, and you buy the 3 Gen 2 heroes, and there is a good synergy, and that's very solid in arena, because you get 3 heals, and that's gonna, you know, make you survive, and that's basically gonna work for you. So that's one thing, but as a free-to-play, you should skip her. You will need to level up Philly with general SSR shards, so the one that, you know, the orange ones that you have in your backpack, and that's, you know, that's a lot. You won't have accumulated that many by then, these ones. You won't have accumulated that many in Gen 2. That's gonna be too much. So you can skip Philly unless you're a big spender. Even as a medium spender, I would consider skipping Philly, to be honest. If I would spend 500 euro a month, I would not invest them in Philly because she will get obsolete very, very quickly. And, you know, that's a lot of money. Again, maxing a hero is, with the widget, if you do the widget and the chart, is, you know, roughly 500-600 euro if you buy everything. That could be a month of spending of a medium spender, and a generation is 2.5 months. So if you spend 500 euro on Alonso, if you spend 500 euro on Philly, you have half a month of spending left, and spending 500 is a lot. And you would not have progressed on anything significant except these. And you know, these will fade away, and they're not gonna be useful anymore. So you don't want to do that. You really don't want to do that. So Philly, it's a skip for most, you know, 99% of people watching. If you know what you do, if you're a big spender and you spend 2, 3, 4, 5,000, then you can consider it. But everyone else, I will skip her. Alonso is a beast. That's the one you want. So Gen 1, you want to hold on to your SSR shard. You want to use a tiny bit on Molly, like I said, and you want to keep them. You want to keep them for Alonso. Alonso is one of the best heroes you can have early game. He's solid for rallies and stuff. You know, he has enemy damage done for 2 turns. He has damage up, so he does extra damage, 50% chance to do 50% damage. That's okay. The stun is meh. He's not a good rally joiner because the stun is useless in you know, 99.9% of the case as a rally joiner. So he's not a good rally joiner, but he's a good rally leader. For Bear, he does a lot of damage because he has more damage. He has more damage, and he has a very offensive widget. So the widget is giving extra lethality on offense here. That's really, really good. So Alonso is great for offense. He's amazing for offense, and he's amazing, like really amazing in arena. Because the rule for arena, if I give you a simple rule to follow, is 1 spell that is written with area of effect damage is okay. It's a good hero. No spell is bad. 2 spell is amazing. 3 spells, I don't think we have 1 hero that does that. So see, we have 1 that is area of effect. So it's gonna, because in arena, you have heroes that are close to each other plus their troops, and so area of effect will get rid of heroes plus their troops and damage 2 or 3 heroes depending on the size of it, right? So it's even immobilizing. So if he does that on an infantry hero, he cannot go to the close combat and start to fight. It can delay that. So that's amazing. He has a second one that is area of effect damage, which is a lot less, but the damage, but that's all okay. That's a lot, and he has stunning targets, so that's as well disabling, right? So that's doing a lot of damage, disabling the opponents. And this one, if you look at it, that's the arena part of the widget. So that's only really worth if you max it or if you are getting close to that, level 6, 8, 10. you see with this fresh fish meals healing your weakest heroes. So that's healing, Philly is healing, Flint is healing. You could have Patrick that is healing as well. I don't think I've seen Wells playing with Patrick on top of the rest because Molly is far stronger and they usually have it max if they are spenders. But that's a lot of healing and that works. So overall, Alonso is your B. So on my free-to-play account on stage 3052, which I'm basically pushing Alonso to 4 stars and Flint with the Lucky Wheel slowly to 4 stars as well. And then when Alonso is 4 stars, you do 2 or 3 levels of Widget. And to do the Widget at the free-to-play, what do? You do your mystery badges here. You will get some. If you refresh, you might get the widgets discounted at 50%. So you will only buy these. You only buy the discounted at 50%. You can do some widgets in Frosty Fortune. So your gems are staying between events, right? That's very important for Frosty Fortune. You open the chest. Often the best strategy is just opening the red one and skip for the rest. And then you will get some roses or some sand, they call it, and then you will be able to buy and you see widgets are hot and are kind of cheap. So that's where you go, and then you have Tundra Trading Station as well that you can start to trade, but at the free-to-play, Tundra Trading Station at that stage of the game, you're not gonna be able to buy widgets. That maybe closer to Gen 3 or 4, you will start to exchange excess shard that you have, excess widgets, whatever you have excess, books and stuff. Gen 2, you don't make any points into Tundra Trading Station, so you cannot count on it. So for you, it will have to come from Imperium of Enigma, and it will have to come from the mystery badges. And that's a bit tough to get. But, just doing level 2 widgets on both Flint and Alonso will be great. And if you have a bit more widgets you can do, then that will be on Alonso. Flint, you don't really need the widget, actually. It does not do anything. Maybe it's time to talk about that quickly. You will keep Flint for Bear for a very long time. The damage you get from Flint, because Bear, the damage is not coming from infantry. So that's why you don't care about being more than 4 stars. You don't care about the extra infantry attack. Like the health is the lethality is coming from the gear and the widget. So you usually don't have it. If you don't have gear and widget, you don't have lethality, right? So you can ignore that. But even if you had your best gear on it, it's not coming from infantry. It's very little portion of your damage is coming from infantry. Most of your damage is coming from marksmen and a tiny bit from lancers. Especially in Gen 2, you might be able to use 20% in your bear marches of infantry, 30-40% of lancers, and 40-50% of marksmen on your best marches, right? To join the best rallies, something like that. You won't be able to use 10-10-80 that we do, so 10% infantry, 10% lancers, 80% marksmen. You don't have enough troops yet. So while that's cool, overall that's not gonna do damage. So what's gonna do damage is the skills, because that's the one that will be shared with your marksman that will do the damage. So you just care for 4 stars. You don't care about the widget. You don't have to invest into Flint's widget. The widget is working on defense. So when you when you launch a rally on Bear, that widget do not work. It does not give you any buff. Increase defender troops by attack. Widgets are either offensive, and the word defender is not present, or the word city defense are not present. It's not always clear that it's offensive, but if you look at Alonso, see, it's weapon increasing rallies troop lethality. So there is no word about defense or defensive troops or something like that. So that means it's working on offense when you attack with a rally. So that will work on Bear. That widget will work on Bear, and increasing your widget of Alonso will actually work on Bear. Let's look at Philly, because I don't remember. Philly, it's defensive. So she's a defensive hero, right? So Alonso is very offensive. So if you had to play offense, let's look at Molly very quickly. Defender lethality, right? So offense, as a rally leader, you will likely play Geronimo or Natalia, depending on what you have. If you don't, you play Flint. Then you play Alonso, and then you need to see what works best for you. That could be Molly. And if you have Philly, you can try Philly. She has a bit better stats, so depending on your troop ratio and stuff like that. So that's kind of giving you the states of Gen 2. Something to consider as well in Gen 2, it will be your overall strategies for heroes. The way I do it myself, but there are a few options. I'm going to give you 2 of the main common ones. Let's say 3, right? You can decide on Gen 2 or you can postpone it. The way I've done it for myself on this account is I sacrificed hero until Gen 4 and 5. So I just did these to 4 stars. And I shouldn't have done Philly. I wasted a lot of shards on Philly. But, you know, I've done the lucky wheel on Flint, as you can see. You see, it looks like there are more shards here. Why is that? It's because when you are Gen 4, you start in your Intel mission to earn shards in Intel mission rewards from 2 gens below you. So in Gen 4, you start to get Gen 2 shards. In Gen 5, you get Gen 3 shards. In Gen 6, you get Gen 4 shards, right? And in Gen 3, I don't think you get Gen 1 shards, so because that's to be. So it really starts to change in Gen 4. So, and the way it works, you have roughly 200 to 300 of these in one generation. It depends a bit on the length of the generation, your luck. So you will have 2 or 3 stars done. So if you remove these 2 or 3 stars that I've been getting from these shards, you see that I went to just above 4 stars with the lucky wheel. And that's the same on Alonso. It's the same on Philly. I got more because you get some from other events as well. So I got a bit more on Philly, but that, you know, you don't do that mistakes. So it looked like I've leveled them up a bit more, but it's because I'm Gen 8, so I got many shards from the chest I've opened, from the keys I've opened. You know, in these keys, you get a previous generation after a while as well. So, you know, they were just 4 stars at the time. At the time, they were just 4 stars. So for me, I sacrificed until Gen 4. So if you look at my Gen 3, you can see I went for Greg, Gen 3. As well, same issue, it was just 4 stars. Same situation, same for Mia, she was just 4 stars. I did not skip the Logan because Logan is not very good, so it's just 3 stars because that's what I got for free from the game. And if you start to look at my Gen 4, 5-star Lean, 5-star Amos, because I transferred a lot, so I have a lot of extra shards. So in this time, in Gen 1, 2, 3, I've accumulated most of my SSR shards. I use a bit for Alonso, and then I stopped. So, you know, I had many of these. I had, you know, close to 2,000 at some point. So when Gen 4 started, I was weaker because I skipped this generation, and then I went all in on Lean. So with the lucky wheel, I spin 120 times, I unlocked her. I maxed out Amos just with the shards, and then if you look, for me, the turning point was like Gen 5 is a lot stronger than all the previous generation in many ways. At least that's what the belief at the time, right? So I hold my shards until Gen 5, and you can see Gen 5, everything is maxed. I marked the 3 heroes of Gen 5, then Gen 6, I've done 2 heroes. So the lucky wheel was Rene, then I did Wayne, then Gen 7, I've done the lucky wheel, that was Bradley, and I did Edis. Gen 8, I'm doing the same. I'm doing the lucky wheel with Gatot, so it's gonna be maxed out at the end of the generation, and I'm starting to use my general shard on Sonia. So because I've accumulated a lot of shards from Gen 1, 2, 3, 4, I could later do 2 generations maxed out per generation, and that's because as well I'm spending a bit of money on the game. You are the free-to-play. If you are free-to-play, or if you spend less than me, or if you don't want to delay, what you should do is you should always go for the lucky wheel again, and then you should pick another hero that you have to decide if you go to 4 or 5 stars. 4 stars, it's 475 shards to get to 4 stars. These 6 last shards, they cost 600, so it's more than double. So going from 4 stars to 5 stars max out is more than double the shard, and total is 1,075 shards. So, and these, the like 6, they give a lot more stats as well, right? If I've upgraded him, you know, I got 10% per shards, and there are 6 of them. So that's 24 shards in total, right? So in 24 shards plus 4 and 28 shards, I got 210%. So I got far below 10% per shard, but this one start to give 10. So the last one give a lot more. So that's why they cost more as well, right? So if you go for 4 stars on this hero moving forward, you will be able to do actually every generation, you will be able to do 2 heroes to 4 stars. You will be able to do the lucky wheel with 70 shards, and you will be able to do another one. My suggestion there, if you consider that, is to do always to pick you pick the lucky wheel. So you have Deanman, Flint, then Mia Lancer, then you get Lean Marksman, then you get Hector Infantry. So you will get that. So it's not really to invest in any Lancers outside of the lucky wheel, because you get a new one every 3 generations. So that's important to understand. So that you're gonna get one every 3 generations. That's good enough. If you are free to play, if you're a chill player, if you're a bit more competitive, you might want to pick some. Like Nora is really good Gen 5, but you know, that'll be covered a bit later. You might want to do a Lancer from time to time. There are a few exceptions, like Nora and Sonia. Sonia is Gen 8. But by default, you do your lucky wheel, and you do either an extra infantry or either an extra marksman. So you have that 2 marksmen, 2 infantry for your expedition and your arena that are really solid, right? And that will work very well for you. So in Gen 2, if you want to do an extra hero, that will be Alonso, because the Flint is from the Lucky Wheel. Gen 3, you will get Mia from the Lucky Wheel, so if you want to do another hero, that will be Logan. Logan is terrible, so don't do another hero Gen 3, very unlikely to be worth it, so you can skip. Eventually, Gen 3, Greg is really good in Arena. Is kind of similar to Alonso in many ways. So if you will skip Alonso or it's too late to do Alonso because you're already early Gen 3, then consider doing Greg 4 stars because they will be very good in Arena. Then Gen 4 you will get Amos because you will get Lynn from the Lucky Wheel, you will get Reyna, it's a Lancer, right? And you will get Amos. So by default I will suggest you to go to Amos. But there is a but, like Reyna is really, really good. Is really good in Arena, she's really good in Arena and stuff. So, you know, like that, the blueprint is Lucky Wheel, and extra infantry or extra marksmen from time to time. And that I have all the detail on my Discord for that kind of stuff. And then from time to time, you can consider a Lancer. And, you know, Reyna is very good, Gen 4. Nora is very good, Gen 5, and actually Sonia is very good Gen 8, so you will have some option if you want an extra Lancer, but that's your blueprint. The alternative, so the first strategy was to delay for a few months and to focus on Gen 4 or 5 because they are a lot better, and to wait until Gen 5 if you can. That's what I've done for myself, and I transferred a lot, so for me I had to wait a very long time to be in Gen 4. 5, I think I stayed in Gen 4 for nearly 6 months because of transfers instead of 80 days. So yeah, so that's a lot of patience. The other strategies, you kind of do the same. I mean, you pick the Lucky Wheel and you invest in 4 stars on the other heroes. And the third one will be you invest to 5 stars in other heroes. So you won't be to do as many, but they will be stronger. So you could do either, for example, Flint, Alonso, 4 stars, both of them. Or you could do Flint, plus use some SSR shards because you won't have the gems to spin the wheel 120 times. And then you might do Alonso 5 star, but you won't have the gems to do the shards to do Greg Gen 3 4 stars plus, for example, or 5 star. You will likely miss unless you are a big spender. So you could have both 4 stars, Alonso and Greg into generation, or you can have 1 5 star, and that's kind of up to you to choose. I tend to prefer. The way I waited until Gen 5 is because these heroes are a lot stronger. So I prefer to get many heroes to 4 stars to start with. And then later I could really focus on 2 heroes per generation that I maxed out because I have accumulated some SSR shards. Plus at that stage, the game gives you a bit more. At that stage, you are VIP, you know, if you spend, you are maybe VIP 9. So you get 3 shards per day. If you don't spend, you are close to you are VIP 11 as a spender. If you are a smaller spender, you are close to VIP 9, or you are VIP 9 and you get 2 a day. So it's a bit easier to sustain. And you know, Mercenary Prestige are giving you more shards. Many rewards are giving you more shards. So it's tiny bit easier to do at that stage. Some people ask me about rallies as well, so I talk a bit about it. Rallies, it's really hard to cover in such a format because it could be very long to understand. Maybe I'll talk a bit about kind of the main strategy you have. Rally, it's quite simple at the end of the day if you don't go too much in the weeds and the details. Your default setup to attack for offense will be heroes with a widget that is offensive. In most cases, some cases the widget is not better than the skills. So, you know, it's not always that clear, but often you want widgets in offense, you want widget that works in offense. So for example, Geronimo, Natalia, Alonso, these are very good for offense. In terms of Lancers, you have 2 defensive widgets. So, you know, Philly and Molly have both defensive widgets. So you might want to see which one works the best or which one available you have, basically. Then in defense, you want defensive widgets, so you might use Flint in defense, for example. Molly or Philly, you probably don't use Zinman in defense because Zinman has 1 skill that is not a fighting skill, so it's a lot worse than Alonso, even if he has a better defensive widget. So you will want to use Alonso for defense, for example, in Gen 2. So it's likely something like Geronimo, Alonso, Philly or Molly, or Flint, Alonso, and Philly or Molly, your rally leaders. That will be how it looks like in most of the cases. In terms of troops, you have kind of 3 options. You have offensively, you have 50 infantry, 20% lancers, 30% marksmen. That's the common strategy for offense. Sometimes people use 60, 10, 30, it's close enough, or 55, 15, 30, like some variation of that. But the bulk is more or less half in infantry, then most of the rest in marksmen, and the tiny rest, 15 to 25%, depending on the other one, you use as lancers. Infantry is tanking, marksman is doing damage, and lancers is doing damage on marksman on the other side and kind of doing the other way around. So that's kind of what it works. That's for offense. Defense, you can already start to use 60-40-0. That works, or you can use 60-10-30. So 60-40-0, that's 60% infantry, 40% lancers, 0% marksman. That works really well in defense. That it's more tanky, you know, it works really, really well, and you can start to use it in Gen 2 actually. Then, you know, if you want to use some marksman because you have very good stats on marksman or whatever the reason, then you can start to use 60-10-30 as well. It works really well. So that's what you do by default, right? You attack with 50-20-30, you defend with 60-40-0. If your opponent is defending with 60-40-0 and your 50-20-30 is not working, what do? You do 20-30-50. So 20 infantry, 30% lancers, and 50% marksmen. Some people do 30% infantry, 20% lancer. That's okay as well. You have to try out and to see, depending on your heroes, depending on your gear, on your stats, that could work out. And you will start to have to do double rallies, triple rallies, so time rallies that they arrive at the same second on the castle and things like that. So you might want to have two very offensive rally, but the first one that are touching the castle, you could want like a 20-30-50 on these two first rally, and then the third one maybe is a regular 50-20-30, so it will actually beat the opponents because they won't have full troops and they will be in a good position to defend as well after that. So that's something you could do. So that's just to give you an idea on ratio. There are more opportunities later, especially in Gen 3 with Mia, but that's gonna come a bit later. So let's go off where we are. As a spender, you probably have all heroes by then. That's okay. As a medium spender, you probably only have Alonso, Flint, Molly for your arena. So you will likely want to use, if you have Flint, you will want to use, if you have Natalia or Geronimo, you will want to combine these for arena. If you have the three options, as you are a big spender, I actually forgot exactly which one works best, but I don't think people use Flint too much in arena. I think people prefer Geronimo and Natalia in most of the cases, from what I remember. But if you don't have Natalia and Geronimo, then you have Flint and Patrick, right? You have Flint, Patrick, Sergei for your infantry. Then for your lancer, you will have Molly at that stage. She will be 3 stars, nearly 4 stars in Gen 2. She will be strong enough to play in arena. She's a really strong arena hero because she has, if you look at the skill, area of effect damage and damage up, so she does more damage. So that, and she attacks faster when she's low life, but usually she dies quickly, so it does not really trigger that much. But that's mostly that's the first skill is amazing, so that's the one you will want to level up the most. And then marksman, what do you have? You are likely still with Baiti Gina in the start of the generation, and then you will slowly start to invest in Alonso. I suggest everyone to do that, even the free-to-play, to 4 stars. So then you will have Baiti. When Baiti is catching up on Gina, so when Baiti is 4+, maybe 4.5, close to, you have a few fragments on top of the 4 stars, because like 4 stars versus 5 stars, Gina is still probably better. So, but as soon as Baiti is closer, halfway to get max, you can start to swap him out. And you will be Alonso, so that will be Flint, Sergei, Molly, Alonso, and Baiti, and that will work very well for you in arena. And you still have the options to do 3 really free to play and more casual people. But it kind of work for it's like Patrick. It's like 3 lancers, so you will do your Flint or your Sergei, whichever is the best at the time. You will do your best marksman, so that will be Baiti, and then you might do Patrick, you might do Jesse. If you have you might do Molly as well, so that will be your 3 by default. If you do 3 lancers in arena, I would not suggest to go for Philly. That's really not worth it. Go for Alonso and stop using 3 lancers. But that's it for Gen 2. We'll talk about Gen 3 in the next video. Might be tomorrow, might be a live stream tomorrow. I'll see. Let me know what you think in the comment, if it's a bit better compared to the first ones I've done, if it's a bit more complete, if you are looking for any extra information, if it was missing or confusing. Feel free to provide any feedbacks you want, so I kind of learn and do better for the next time. Consider subscribing, consider joining the channel as usual. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being on the live stream. Thank you for being on the Discord. It's really appreciated. I wish you an amazing evening. I see you soon, and much love to you all. Bye bye.